It's 4 p.m. We bring developing news to the stories behind the headlines. This is Storycon, the Story Conference. I'm Ed Lingao. Some stories for watching this Monday, February 2. The House Justice Committee has declared 2 impeachment complaints against President Bongbong Marcos sufficient in form. This means that they meet the basic legal requirement for further proceedings. The first complaint by lawyer Andre De Jesus received 46 votes to continue the hearings. The second, filed by Liza Maza, Teddy Casino, and Nery Colmenares with Makabayan Bloc support, was approved 35-9-1. Meantime, 2 groups have filed separate impeachment complaints against VP Sara Duterte. This follows the Supreme Court decision to declare last year's articles as unconstitutional. The first complaint, endorsed by Makabayan lawmakers, alleges betrayal of public trust over supposed misuse of confidential funds and delves into Duterte's alleged behavior during the 2026 budget hearings. The second, filed by civil society groups and endorsed by opposition lawmakers Laila de Lima and Perez Sendanya, accuses Duterte of graft, bribery, and other high crimes. For their part, the VP's defense team says they are prepared to confront these new complaints. Mark Leandro Mendoza is back as Senate Secretary General. This after he was officially elected through Viva Voce or voice voting during this afternoon session. He previously served as Presidential Advisor on Legislative Affairs and Presidential Legislative Liaison Head. Mendoza replaces Renato Bantug Jr., who retired recently. And a Filipino who went to Russia for work is now detained in Ukraine after being enlisted in the Russian military. Ramon Gumangan informed his family he was captured on September 2, 2025 and appealed for help to return to the Philippines. The Department of Migrant Workers is coordinating with Ukrainian authorities to facilitate his repatriation and warned the public to use only legitimate recruitment agencies. And joining us in a little bit will be our resident political heckler, Raul Llamas, who is now out of town, but he will be joining us via Zoom. But from the Philippine Star, of course, we always have, Star Editor-in-Chief, Ami Pamintuan.
Hi, Ed. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Ami.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
Impeachment Day.
Oo. Dalawa kagad.
Poor impeachment.
Oo. Dalawa kagad. Although, I was wondering, why today? It's
Di ba hindi, pag-uusapan pa naman yung substance doon kay Vice President, Saka yung 1 year, I think, they will calculate simula dun sa pagpunta sa Committee on Justice.
The initiation, the initiation date is what's important. Although, yun din kasi, because basing it on the Supreme Court decision that immediately dapat inilalagay na siya sa order of business. So, nagbibilang na yun.
Ilang araw na lang yan.
Nagbibilang na kagad ng
4 days.
ng 10 session days yan. I mean, the 10 session days already start. So
4 days, sa Friday.
Kung may hahabol pa,
February 6.
Kailangan magmadali.
Pero parang may ibang mga istorya na approve na raw in substance yung impeachment kay Presidente.
Yeah, that's BBM.
Yeah, that's BBM. Yun yung initiated na kasi Committee on Justice na yun. Diba?
Yeah.
Although nauna naman talaga final yung cases na yan. Nauna sila
Yeah. I know.
So, form and substance na yung kay BBM,
What I'm curious about is, after almost a year of waiting, why biglang minadali on the 2nd of February when they could have just as well waited for February 6 as stated in the Supreme Court decision?
Kay Presidente naman yan
No, I'm talking about the VP Sara.
Yung kay VP. Tako, nagkakalituhan na tayo.
Okay. I'm talking about the VP Sara impeachment complaint. 2 were filed today.
Sige.
2 were filed today.
Yes.
When the decision of the Supreme Court nung July, which was affirmed last week, was filing should or initiation at least can only take place or
Hindi, filing lang naman yan
take part on the 6th of February. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Filing pa lang yan,
I
hindi
know
pa
what you
yung
mean.
sa
It's a
1
filing.
year.
But as
Yung
well,
initiation.
but you also have to be conscious of the timetables set by the Constitution, which was enforced or is being enforced now by the Supreme Court. Remember, the Supreme Court decision, which is affirmed last week, explicitly states that immediately after the filing, they should be counting 10 session days before it is elevated to the calendar of business, order of business.
2 weeks pa yun.
Yeah, pero nga siyempre, naghahabol ka bale. Kung may
Baka
hahabol pang
gusto
iba,
nila siguraduhin lang na baka masermo na naman sila, hindi sila nagbabasa ng complaint.
what I'm
To
saying
give
is
them
ano,
all enough time to read the complaint. Kasi may nadagdag dun kay VP eh. Actually, yung iba refiled lang, no? Yung
Yeah.
dating final. Pero ito, dinagdag nila yung kay Madriaga. Yung testimony ni Madriaga. So, medyo kailangan mong basahin uli yung complaint.
mhm.
Para pag pumirma ka doon na I read the complaint, you're not lying, ano?
Yeah,
Hindi ba
and
kailangan may ganun na?
I think now with the new Supreme Court ruling, now they also have to include the evidence in the complaint.
Pero yung, kaya kailangan linawin natin sa mga ano. Kasi yung second mode daw, kailangan, mas mabilis na daw yung second mode.
Yeah.
Actually, pwede pa rin yung voting by 1/3 tapos padala.
The second mode, hindi pa rin requirement ang dumaan sa Justice Committee.
Hindi ka kailangan mag-preliminary investigation na parang preliminary investigation ng House.
Although yung first mode, syempre kailangan pa rin mag-Justice Committee yan.
Mm.
So, these things...
Kaya siguro, susundan nila yung second mode. Mas mabilis yun eh.
But if they're going to go for the second mode book, then the 10-day countdown starts today.
Session days naman yan.
Yeah, session days.
Calendar days with session.
With session.
Meaning, that's
So-
Monday to Thursday lang.
Mhm. Well, depende kung kung may
4
session sa
days.
Thursday. Minsan kasi
4
Wednesday lang
days
eh.
lang. Hindi, wala silang session pag Biyernes eh.
Minsan kasi pati Thursday wala eh. So,
Oh, yun na nga, yun na
We
nga.
have to be conscious as
pwede
well of
mong
that.
tanggalin yun, di ba?
so basically mga 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, thereabouts.
2 weeks.
Depending
Hanggang
on
2.5
the mood
weeks kaya.
and mode of Congress. Pero yun nga,
Kaya pwede nilang basahin yan. Yan ang homework nila. Basahin nyo. Nakita nyo kung gaano kakapal yung complaint na tinutulak sa cart. They have to read.
pero yun nga, I suppose the countdown for the 10 session days already begins now.
Ngayon,
Oo. So kung may hahabol,
Mabilis-bilis naman
kailangan
yun.
nilang ihabol within those 10 session days or 10 calendar days with Congress session
Session. Yan na nga.
to be more accurate as far as the Supreme Court decision is concerned.
Oo.
So
Oo,
yun na ngayon ang working timetables natin for anybody who wants to make habol.
Kailangan
sa
din naman
impeachment.
nilang bilisan yan dahil malapit na mag-election year. By mid-year this year, medyo yan eh.
Everybody's thinking of 2028.
Nagre-realignment na yan, no? Kaya
So there, we will have later, Bok, one of the conveners of the group that filed the impeachment complaint against VP Sara. We will be having her on the show to talk about their complaint and what they're putting forward. And as well, later we will also be talking about, since you mentioned already 2028, we'll be talking to Octa Research, si Professor Ranjit Rai,
Yes.
ang presidente ng Octa Research, to talk about yung latest na tugon ng masa survey and what the numbers show for the fourth quarter of 2025, December 16 to 20 ata, ang survey na. December 16 to 20.
bumaba na naman yung kay President Marcos
Bumaba kay
at
Bongbong.
medyo umangat na naman si VP Sara. Although hindi siya masyadong malaki ha.
Yeah.
Pareho.
Yung kay Bongbong medyo malaki, 9 percentage
Yung
points.
kay BBM medyo malaki.
Ang trust rating niya bumagsak ng 9 percentage points. Yung kay VP Sara, umakyat ng 2 percentage points. That's well within the plus or minus 3 na margin of error ng survey.
Nandiyan na yung man of mystery mo.
Andiyan na si Man of Mystery.
nandiyan
Magparamdam ang ating international Man of Mystery, si Tito Rol Llamas.
Yan na.
Ayan.
So, yan na.
Ayan. Mukhang mukhang nasa Nasa Bilibid ka ba? Hindi, nasa
Oh my
hotel.
God, flat sun nga yan. Parang dyan ako
Mukhang
Ay.
Bilibid.
Kakarating lang sa
Oo,
La
mukhang
Union.
nasa hotel ka.
mukhang
Ah,
masarap
hotel
yung
room
ano.
yan, ah.
Just arrived sa La Union. Yung Catholic
Ah.
Educators Association of the Philippines sa General Assembly.
sabi ni Vic.
Oo.
Nag-meeting na ba sila, Ronald?
Nagsimula na, pero bukas pa lang umaga yung talk ko. Early morning sa mga
Okay.
alas 8.
Okay.
So, ano yung preliminary topic
Puro
nila
pa lang
kanina?
ngayon eh. Puro religious groups eh. CBCP,
Oo
last
nga, tingnan
Sunday.
mo, ah.
Tapos
Kailangan may
Catholic
konting scenery yung mga religious.
Oh, you are
Catholic
precisely
Media
the
Center. Tapos ngayon sa CEAP. Tapos in 3 days sa
Kailangan magkaroon ng
Caritas.
perspective from the sinner's point of view yung mga mababait eh.
Medyo. Hindi, ang ibig sabihin kasi,
Ronald.
Ami, baka hindi mo alam, ang ibig sabihin ng evangelization, paano sasagipin yung makasalanan.
Kaya nga.
Oh, yan.
Kaya priority ka eh.
Yun ang evangelization. Si
Kaya
Ed,
ikaw ang
hindi na
challenge sa
kinakailangan.
kanila.
Si Ed, hindi na kinakailangan ng evangelization. No?
Mea culpa,
Dahil
maximum
seminarista
culpa.
yan eh. Seminarista. No? Nagkasala lang on the way to
Umalis sa seminaryo.
Kayo
sa
talaga?
Vatican.
Baka tamakan ng
Ikaw
kidlat
yung
yan.
major challenge sa kanila, kaya ikaw lagi iniimbita.
Teka,
Medyo.
huling sundot ka lang kay Ronald. Alam mo, si Ronald kasi ang kanilang target market. Kaya parati siya
Ayun na nga
nangayaya.
yun.
Diba? Okay,
Para malaman kung paano.
let's
What
bring in
will
our
work.
first guest for today. Okay, one of the citizen
sige.
complainants, actually a convener ng
Yeah.
grupo na nagsampa ng impeachment complaint or one of the two impeachment complaints against VP Sara Duterte. Welcome back to Storycon, UP Professor Emerita, I think Emeritus, Dr. Sylvia Claudio. Ma'am, magandang hapon po, Doktora, and thank you for joining us.
Hi, Professor. Nakamute
Ma'am,
po
nakamute
kayo.
po. Professor, nakamute.
Magandang hapon, Ed, Ami,
Ayan na, okay
and
na.
co-sinner, Ronald.
Oh, sin.
The friend also.
Di ba ako nakaka-forma? Binanata na kagad ako ni Professor Kai. Yun yung problema eh.
Sin.
Ba't ba ako nasama sa tropang ito? Baka tamaan din ako ng kidlat. Joke lang.
Di ba ako nakaka-forma yan, ha? Nabanata kagad ako.
Ma'am, thank you for joining us, Professor.
Thank you for having me.
Opo. But first of all, the question I raised kanina, when we were talking kanina with Ami, kasi today's February 2, but the Supreme Court decision, which it affirmed last week, stated na the new complaint should start moving only on February 6. Although I think that what they were saying was, based on the Constitution, only
Initiation.
one complaint can be initiated in a year. But tell us the reason behind this decision na today isampa yung complaint.
Yes, we were actually following that February 6 date until Thursday. We saw the Supreme Court final resolution of the memoranda for reconsideration or memorandum for reconsideration that specified again, no? When is the initiation? And upon following that memorandum, it would seem that the period had lapsed and we could file today, no? And as you well know, our big fear is always that somebody files some flimsy complaint, and then the 1 year period, which can easily be dismissed in terms of whatever, lack of correct form, lack of content. And then we will, kawawa naman, no, for us who feel that we have a very legitimate set of articles put forward to request an impeachment trial. So, yun, medyo sleepless ang aming nights for the past few nights, long meetings, trying to rush our impeachment complaint. And as you know, it was not just our group that filed this morning. The other group also filed.
Yes, ma'am.
I think based on that new counting, based on the Supreme Court memorandum.
Professor, ano bang kaibahan nung final nyo today doon sa final nyo last year? Ano bang major difference?
The major difference was we decided to streamline some of our complaints, so there are less articles of impeachment. We chose the ones that are quite obvious, that are very easy already to prove, no? Let me cite yung Article 1 namin, which was on national TV, which all of us saw. Well, not all of us, many of us saw. Certainly the petitioners who have to have personal knowledge. I saw that live, no? Her threat to the life of the president and the first lady, no? So that one is, I don't think how that cannot be said to be actually that it actually happened, no? The other big difference is the Madriaga testimony that came out after we filed the complaint last year. So it's confidential funds, her SALN, her involvement in the EJ case under her father's regime. So those, and of course, the threat to the life of the president and his family.
So total of 5.
So, yun, we had more last year, but we're learning a little bit that I think even in terms of having Congress look at it, and in terms of we don't really need to throw the kitchen sink, no? It's sufficient for us to ask for accountability if we just really confine ourselves to these articles, which are very easily proven.
Professor, merong mga nagsasabi you cannot impeach an official for offenses committed outside her yung current position. So hindi daw pwede yung killings when she was mayor or vice mayor, yung mga fund anomalies nung Department of Education pa siya. Ano yung comment ninyo doon?
Yes, that we also had a bit of a debate about that, no? But we also felt that under the broader idea of betrayal of public trust and how we expect our government officials to behave with a certain amount of integrity through their service within government, we decided that we would go through with that. But our reckoning is if they want to throw those out, we still have very, very good grounds on the basis just of her confidential funds under the office of the OVP, which we also included in the complaint, her SALN, which can be confined to the years where she is vice president. And of course, as I said, kaya namin linagay na number 1, there is really no arguing with video evidence broadcast over national media that this woman actually threatened the life of the president.
So
Professor?
yun ko lang, no? You filed early, I mean ahead of February 6, kasi para siguraduhin lang na walang magfa-file ng weak complaint that will effectively inoculate her kung sakasakali dahil madali nga siyang i-trash.
There, that's the word, inoculate.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. That's part of our reasoning why we thought we'd go ahead and file already.
Pero ma'am, you're not concerned na baka lang well, of course we're not lawyers, pero baka magkaroon ng technikalan na you know it is kasi in the July decision of Supreme Court which it affirmed last week, February 6 yung target dates ng lahat. I know that the keyword there is initiate, and at this point yung word ng initiate can mean so many things.
Filing pa lang yan eh.
But whatever the case is, ang klaro sa Supreme Court decision kasi is yung from the filing you start counting 10 session days or 10 calendar days with sessions. So in effect kumbaga nagsimula ang day 1 today. If I get that right. So, whatever the case is, kung merong hahabol na ibang gusto magsampa, the countdown has already started.
Yes, we of course consulted our lawyers about their interpretation as well of the Supreme Court memorandum decision, and they also came up with that conclusion that we should file today. And then, correct yan. My understanding is, if pwede pang humabol ang iba, it will depend already on the rules of our Congress, how they wish to handle these complaints, no? But there must be a referral give after a certain number of days from the time of our filing.
Yung 10 plus 3.
Professor, with the latest decision ng Supreme Court dun sa motion for reconsideration ng Congress na final nila o sinubmit nila sa Supreme Court last year, tingin nyo ba ay yung chances nitong impeachment na final nyo ay mas kakayanin kumpara doon sa last year?
Alam mo, Ronald, I'm going to give a Ronald Llamas answer.
Nako.
It really is.
Teka.
I'm sorry, we are old friends. That's why I'm gonna jab him with my elbow also.
Me and my big mouth.
Okay. Quoting, sinapian ako ni Ronald Llamas at the moment. Ang issue kasi ng chances, di ba, Ronald? It really is also the appetite of Congress and
Yes.
the political situation now for any impeachment complaint to go forward. It really is, as everyone says, a political process. We thought we had better chances last year, honestly, kung akong tatanungin, no? I also pala need to clarify for the sake of our organizations that these were individual complainants. We took it upon ourselves to file the complaints as individuals. Although, tingin ko marami sa amin na ipaalam naman sa aming various organizations. Hindi ko naman pinapaalam sa UP kasi may freedom naman ako as professor. Pero yung organisasyon ko, halimbawang Tindig Pilipinas, pinaalam naman namin ng ilan sa amin na we would go through and there were no objections. No? But we are individuals. So speaking for myself, I thought our chances were better last year than they are this year. Ronald can agree or disagree, and I think he agrees, and he'll tell you why I think I'm right. But siguro, even during the first filing, my own motivation was really just, is this the right thing to do? No, even then, kasi there were serious political considerations in the filing. We were coming up upon an election. We were looking at whether that would skew the election discourse to toxicity and issues that were not really necessary for our people to look at in choosing their officials, whether national or local. But my decision hasn't changed. I honestly think that there has been serious crimes, I guess, committed, and that therefore the Vice President needs to be held accountable. So just as an ordinary citizen, filing as an individual, bahala na si Ronald sa political process sa Kongreso. We filed, no? And we are, I don't know if I'm naive or some people are too good for their own good, are too, not good, are too cynical or too jaded or too well established for their own good. But simply lang ako the best I can do is to ask our institutions to perform their duties and to hold our officials accountable. If that doesn't happen this time around, then we just keep trying, because that's the only thing, that is our role. If people do not wish to fulfill their role, then that's not my issue anymore. But we are very happy naman. Meron namang nag-endorse last year as well as this year, no? And this year, our spokesperson last year, Congresswoman Laila De Lima, is now one of our endorsers because she was our spokesperson for our group last year. And of course, now being a congresswoman, she is one of our endorsers for the complaint.
Ma'am, in the complaint, sinama na po ninyo lahat ng ebidensya. Of course, we do remember the last time the Supreme Court ruled it required due process. It required that the complainants also provide the evidence sufficient to prove that the charges will stick So I'm wondering po to what degree of detail ang inyong sinamang ebidensya doon sa inyong complaint?
Of course, that's also one of the reasons why we decided to streamline our complaint in compliance with, hoping to comply with the, in my mind, completely bizarre Supreme Court requirements. So we tried, no? Of course, kanina when we were filing, the Secretary General of the Congress, the House of Representatives, said, "What is this video evidence that you had attached?" And of course, that was the video evidence of the threat
Ni kay VP
she
Sara.
made against then a lot of the issues on her funds are already actually with Congress itself when it conducted its Quadcom investigations, no? So that's there. That was also easy enough to attach. The Madriaga affidavit, for example, is an affidavit that we can just put forward, and we also attach that. So we did try our best. Having said that, we are very much, we continue to be very much upset by how the Supreme Court decision has, as I said, made the Constitution's opening for ordinary citizens to seek accountability into a far more difficult procedure, no? So I honestly think the memorandum did not uphold the spirit of the Supreme Court. Pinapahirapan lang kami mas lalo ng mga requirements na yon. We tried to comply, but the point is really that the HOR has the powers also to try and look into our complaints as if there is enough evidence to say it's worth looking into. They're not just going to be people who will stamp the complaint and send it to the Senate. They also have a job, a duty, and a right to investigate a little further and add some more and say whether upon further investigation, bobo pala to, dismiss namin, or upon further investigation, we even found more things and we will now endorse it already to the Congress. We will impeach her. So, ang paniniwala namin, there is enough. We filed. But we do hope that Congress will use its powers, its independent powers, to look further into our complaints. And I'm sure that with their capacity, their resources, their powers sitting now as a Congress exercising their duty to look into this, they will be able to add more. Kasi ordinaryong mamamayan lang kami, ang dami na naming nakita eh. Sila pa kaya?
But has
Professor, medyo interesado ako doon sa Madriaga testimony. Dahil before, even Congresswoman Laila de Lima took it with a bit of a grain of salt. Paano nyo pinroseso yung Madriaga testimony? Paano nyo na due diligence yung kanyang testimony? Dahil before, ay may mga questions about his affidavit.
I think sa amin lang yung it's sworn, he swore to it. It is an admission against his own interest, ika nga ng mga lawyers, di ba? And then, is it sufficient for us, as I said, on the basis of citizens saying, "Oy, Congress, tignan nyo ito. Kung meron namang sapat na batayan na pala, more, tignan nyo pa more, then can you please do that, no?" And remember, this is related to her SALN, which, thank God, finally we were able to get a look at. And apart from the Madriaga affidavit, there is also just the SALN itself requires, no, a lot of explaining kasi we can't see how she could even have dalawa yan eh. How could she have gotten all that money in itself as a simple government employee and as a UP prof of decades? I can tell you what our salaries look like regardless of whether you're a professor or a vice president or a mayor. And the other thing is with the Madriaga affidavit, certainly she's misdeclaring her income. And she should declare that, no? So there's that element, and we would just simply also like to see Congress to look at. And we will uphold, no, na we are not required just to give to Congress something that they can say, oh, that's a slam dunk. Okay, that's fine. We're gonna put it on. Oh, Congress now, with our impeachment complaint, is also empowered to look into these issues.
So you're talking about the prospects sa House and your misgivings, no, compared to last year. Paano kung ma-hurdle niya yung House at pumunta sa Senado? Ano yung tingin niyo ngayon, yung compared to last year, the Senate, sa Senado ngayon? Sa tingin niyo mas malaki tsansa ngayon o mas humina palalo?
Ma'am Ami, parang salamat. Binigyan mo na kami ng konting palugit sa House kasi House pa lang, palang milagro na yung mangyayari sa amin dito. But our experience last time, no, was that once it hurdled the House, then we focused on the Senate, and again, that was an evolving and very difficult landscape, no. So for the moment, it would look like the majority, the thin and difficult majority of our Senate, we have more chances than the majority that was last year, no? So that's one. But still, we will have to look at read the political situation, and all we really have are our voices and rights to protest. So last year, as difficult as it was already a victory to even force them to consider the complaint. And that was step by step by step. How many rallies, how many difficult nights we have to spend in front of the gates of the Senate just for them to see whether they would become sworn in as the court. Tapos pinagtalunan pa kung swearing in means court na nga sila. And then all those rallies and all those nuances, like we did not dismiss, but we archived the complaint, etc., etc. So it's a fight all the way. People sometimes ask us, or we even ask ourselves, all these difficulties for what it is, for what? But well, we look at these things developmentally. Even if we gain even a small inch in pushing our institutions towards some amount of accountability to people, then I guess the struggle was good enough.
Okay. Maraming salamat. We'd like to say thank you to Dr. Silvia Claudio ng Tindig Pilipinas, one of those who filed an impeachment complaint against VP Sara Duterte today. Thank you po.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Salamat po.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Well, isa raw siya sa mga makasalanan kagaya ni Ronald Llamas. So, okay ang entrada, di ba? Ano, Ronald?
Dumadami pala kami.
Nakakahawa ka pala eh. Buti lang hindi ako nahahawa sa'yo. But anyways, we will go first into a gap. You're watching Storycon on One News. We will take a break. We'll be right back.
This is the Story Conference Group or the Storycon Group.
We've got developing news in the stories behind the headlines. Welcome back to Storycon, the Story Conference. I'm Ed Lingao, and of course with us, Ami Pamintuan ng Philippine Star and Raul Llamas ng La Union.
Exactly.
La Union Penitentiary.
Sarap ng tawa eh. Okay. Let's now talk to News 5 correspondent sa House of Representatives, si Marian Enriquez. Marian, anong latest dyan?
Hi, Bok. Kamusta kayo dyan? Dito nga sa Kamara, pasado na lumusot sa House Committee on Justice. Itong dalawang reklamo po sa sufficiency in form.
Yeah.
Ibig sabihin, sa base sa pagkilates ng House Committee on Justice, meron po nga itong dalawang impeachment complaint na inihain laban kay Pangulong Bongbong Marcos ay signed, verified at endorsed po ng kongresista. At giniit nga po kanina na talagang majority yung nakita natin ng mga kongresista na bumotong pabor so sa sufficiency in form nitong dalawang reklamo. Yung unang complaint na inihain po ni Attorney Andre De Jesus at inendorso ni Pusong Party List Representative Jet Nisa ay nakakuha ng 46 na boto pabor, isa yung nag-abstain, isa yung nag-no, si Congressman Benny Abante. Samantala yung ikalawang grupo naman ng bayan na naghain ng impeachment complaint na inendorso po ng Makabayan Bloc ay nakakuha ng 35 yes votes. Siyam yung tumutol at isa nga yung nag-abstain. Kanina nagkainitan pa no, yung ilang mga kongresista kasi una, ito yung si Manila 3rd District Representative Joel Chua, sinabi niya na dapat present mismo yung mga complainant dito sa komite para nga panumpaan o i-testify na sa kanila mismo yung mga lagda. Baka raw kasi mangyari na later on babawiin at hindi naman daw sa kanila itong mga pirma doon sa dalawang reklamo. Pero sinabi rin po ni Committee on Justice Chairperson Jervy Luistro na preliminary proceedings ito nung ginagawa nila at nakatutok lang sila doon sa forma kumbaga nilalaman nitong dalawang reklamo. Kaya ang inibitahan lang dito sa pagdinig ay yung mga miyembro ng Justice Committee at saka yung mga nag-endorso na mga kongresista. Kanina din, na nagkaroon din ng pag-iinit pagkatalo nung ni-raise naman ni CDO Representative Rufus Rodriguez, yung bakit wala daw notaryo doon mismo sa verification page nung ikalawang impeachment complaint. Sinagot yan ni Kabataan Party List Representative Reneco na kabilang po doon sa endorsers ng Makabayan Bloc na sinasabi niya na masyadong marami yung mga pumirmang nagreklamo doon sa complaint kaya nasa mga sumunod pang pahina yung makikita yung notaryo ng abogado. At saka heavily covered daw ito ng media, syempre noong nakaraang linggo nung naghain nga sila ng reklamo na makikita na doon lahat yung mga complainant nag-take ng oath in front doon sa abogado na nagnotaryo nga nung kanilang reklamo.
Marian,
Pero
pero
gaano katagal yan mag-ano dun sa sufficiency in substance? Gaano katagal kaya yon bago magbotohan naman doon?
Ami bukas ngayon naasahan na tatalakayin na 10 a.m. mag-resume itong pagdinig ng House Committee on Justice para naman talakayin yung sufficiency in substance nitong dalawang reklamo. So ganun din, katulad ng ginawa kanina, tatalakayin mo na yung unang reklamo, yung kay Atty. Andre De Jesus, kung papasabay ito sufficient in substance at pangalawa nga yung grupong inihain ng Bayan at Makabayan Bloc. So dito titignan kung itong mga inilatag nilang allegations, mga articles, will constitute for a ground of impeachment. At alam naman po natin sa under the Constitution, sa isa po ng saligang batas, 6 lamang yung grounds for impeachment: culpable violation of the Constitution, betrayal of public trust, treason, bribery, andyan din po yung graft and corruption and other high crimes. So iisa-isahin po yan yung bawat reklamong nilatag kung it will fall po to any of the grounds noong impeachment.
So, hindi
Maria,
na pwedeng humabol ngayon, Hindi na pwedeng humabol ng dagdag na complaint. Ngayon na-accept na yan, sufficiency in form.
Tama ka dyan, Ami. Tsaka nag-initiate na kasi yung 1-year ban o yung 1-year bar simula nga po noong na-refer ito sa House Committee on Justice noong nakalinggo. Kaya ngayon po, mula ngayon, wala na pong maaaring maghain ng panibagong impeachment complaint laban kay Pangulong Bongbong Marcos sa loob po yan ng 1 taon.
Maria, interested ako bakit nag-walk out si Congressman Abante.
Nako, Tito Ronald Llamas, kanina nga, very adamant siya, na sinasabi niyang, hindi naman na-meet yung requirements, hindi sapat yung forma nitong una at ikalawang complaint. And nagpasalamat nga siya kasi yung ibang kongresista, like si Congressman Joel Chua, si Congressman Rufus Rodriguez, nag-raise din nga kanilang issue para sa kanya, insufficient in form itong dalawang reklamo with also, agreeing doon sa mga sinabi bakit walang complainant, dapat present yung complainant, tapos yung mga issue doon sa pagnotaryo. Ending, sinabi niya doon sa pagkatapusan naman na rin to ng deliberasyon, nung sinabi nga niya parang futile daw, wala na itong naging decision dahil hindi nga siya kinatigan ng ibang niya mga kasamahan dito na overrule, marami, mas mayorya talaga, overwhelming majority bumoto pabor na sufficient in form, kaya nag-walk out na lang siya.
yung sufficiency in form is, I suppose, medyo pro forma lang yan eh. That's the bare minimum, tama ba? You just have to establish that the complaints are properly signed and endorsed by, for example, a member of Congress. Did I get that right?
Tama ka dyan, Bok. Dapat signed o pirmado ng mga complainants, verified, ibig sabihin po, alam ng mga complainant based on their personal knowledge or meron pong authentic records na pinagbasehan yung reklamo. At pangatlo, with the resolution of endorsement. Ibig sabihin, in-endorso po ng kongresista. So, na-meet naman yung dalawang reklamong yun, ng tatlong pinakakailangan dito nga sa pagtukoy kung sufficient inform yung impeachment complaint.
At tingin mo, Marian, gano'ng katagal pa sa Justice Committee yan?
Actually, Ronald, malalaman natin yan bukas sa pagtukoy nila kung sufficient in substance. Kasi titignan natin, within this week daw yung pagtukoy ng sufficiency in substance. So, pagkakalaman tayo sa Lunes kung ano ang magiging fate nitong impeachment complaint laban kay Pangulong Bongbong Marcos. Dahil kung maalala po ninyo, base po dito sa reklamo, pwedeng mabasura yung mga impeachment complaints against PBBM kung hindi po nila mamimit itong requirement ng sufficiency in substance. Well, isa sa nakikita natin na maaaring mabasura nga itong reklamo kung hindi po magpo-fall yung mga allegation doon sa ground for impeachment. May isa tayong nakita. Let's say, yung first impeachment complaint filed by Attorney Andre De Jesus. Meron siya doon slide. Sinabi niya, inaakusahan niya si Pangulong Bongbong Marcos na binuo daw yung Independent Commission for Infrastructure o yung ICI para raw pagtakpan yung kanyang mga aliado dito nga po sa maanumalyang flood control projects. So ang tanong, saang impeachment ground ito magpo-fall? Will that constitute a ground for impeachment? Kasi kung makitaan po yan ng mga kongresista na saan ba to magpo-fall? Meron bang impeachable offense ito? Maaari kasi nila yung barilin. Hindi natin alam kasi they will vote on the entirety of the impeachment complaint.
Pero
So kapag
babarilin talaga.
in-approve yung isa, kahit isa lang sa complaint, pag in-approve na, ano yung susunod? Ibig sabihin, accepted na yung impeachment complaint Ano yung susunod na step sa House?
Kami kung may lumusot na impeachment complaint at makitaan nila, sufficient in form, sufficient in
Yes.
substance, lumusot pa rin. Dito na po mag-uumpisa. Magpadala yung House Committee on Justice ng notices para mag-reply ang respondent, si President Bongbong Marcos within 10 days. Dito nga sa reklamo, bibigyan naman ng 3 araw itong mga complainant para mag-respond din doon sa magiging reply ni PBBM. At dito na po mag-uumpisa, gumulong yung pagdinig tungkol sa mga impeachment case laban kay Pangulong Marcos. Magpapadala na po ng notices and invitations sa mga testigo, complainants, and even the respondent PBBM. Iimbitahan po si Pangulong Marcos para dumalo po sa pagdinig. Maglalabas na ng mga evidence, sa mga ebidensya, magkakaroon na ng mga cross-examination. Dito na natin makikita yung laman, kumbaga, ng reklamo at titignan kung sufficient nga ba yung grounds for impeachment para ma-impeach si Pangulong Bongbong Marcos. Pagbobotohan po ng komite, kailangan ng majority kung tingin nila meron pong sufficient grounds for impeachment para dalhin po sa plenaryo at depende po sa report ng House Committee on Justice. They have 60 session days para makapagsumite po ng committee report at doon sa plenaryo, pagbobotohan, either impeach o hindi, si PBBM. Kailangan po ng 1/3 ng boto o 106 na boto ng mga kongresista kung ano man yung magiging desisyon tungkol dito sa impeachment ni PBBM.
Marian, yung determination of sufficiency in substance, tell me if I'm getting this right, that is not a determination of the merits, no? It's not a determination yet of the merits of the allegations. It's only determination on whether the allegations fall within the categories specified in the Constitution of what can constitute an impeachable offense.
Yes, tama ka dyan, Bok. Recital of facts and kung nag-constitute nga ba itong mga aligasyon iwo po to any of the grounds on impeachment na nakalatag po sa konstitusyon ng mga binanggit natin kanina.
So wala pa yung na sapat na ba ito? Wala pang ganon. Wala pa yung dun
Hindi
sa
pa natin pag-uusapan
tatayo
yun,
ba ito?
Pati yung mga ebidensya, ano yung mga pinaghugutan ng mga ito. Kapag nakalusot pa lang doon, saka pa lang po ito gugulong. So ang tanong ay kung lulusot ba sa sufficiency and substance.
Marian, would you know if they will require President Marcos to appear? Kasi parang optional yon on the part of the President.
Yes, according to Committee on Justice Chairperson Jervil Luistro, prerogative ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos
Yes.
kung ano po siya rito. Pero iimbitahan nga yung respondent, pero nasa sa kanya na po, kung pupunta siya mismo physically o magpapadala po siya ng kanyang kinatawan. Pero yun yung sinabi nga ni Luis.
Okay.
Okay. Ronald, ikaw, meron kang pahabol?
Okay na.
Okay na.
Okay. Maraming salamat sa iyo, ang ating reporter sa House of Representatives. Ay, teka, Marian, bago lahat, kasi nagsampal nga kanina ng 2 impeachment complaints against VP Sara naman, VP Sara Duterte. Napag-usapan ba yan kanina dun sa hearing? And will they be able to to roll with two separate impeachment complaints?
Oo nga eh.
Yes, Bok. Actually, hindi siya napag-usapan doon sa pagdinig no, or pagtalakay ng PBBM impeachment. Pero we've asked Chairperson Luistro about that before and sinabi niya, ready po ang House Committee on Justice na tanggapin din itong impeachment complaints against VP Sara oras na mai-refer po sa kanila no, ng Committee on Rules at kahanda po sila na simultaneously no, dinggin nga po itong dalawang reklamo kung sakali at umusad nga itong BBM impeachment. Kung maalala nga rin po natin, sinabi na ni Luistro na maganda siguro kung magtatakda sila kung ng araw, specific days, kumbaga kung anong araw ang BBM impeachment, anong araw naman diringgin yung VP Sara impeachment para hindi magulo kung magsasabay yung sa isang linggo.
Oo, parang color coding yan ng kotse, no? May
Oo nga eh.
MWF, may TTHS. Hindi mo pwedeng pagsabay sa isang araw eh. Rumble yan eh.
Gagawa pa ba sila, Marian? Gagawa pa ba sila ng bagong rules? Kasi every impeachment,
Yeah.
gumagawa sila ng additional depende sa circumstances ng case, saka yung tao na ini-impeach. May ginagawa ba sila ngayon, mga bago?
Ami, alam mo ba, kanina nakausap natin itong si House Senior Deputy Majority Leader Lawrence Defensor and he was really disappointed dito nga sa naging desisyon ng Korte Suprema
Supreme Court.
denying the motion for reconsideration nila no doon sa VP Sara impeachment case kasi nga nakita raw talaga na may judicial overreach itong ginawa ng Korte Suprema. Ngayon ang tanong, paano nila i-revise o i-amend yung House Rules on Impeachment? Sinabi niya na maninindigan sila, nagagawa nga sila ng panibagong rules on impeachment anchored sa konstitusyon. At pinag-uusapan nila ngayon kung paano pa rin idadagdag kumbaga para hindi babangga naman doon sa desisyon ng Korte Suprema. Kasi malala po ninyo, no, nagkaroon ng interpretation, sariling interpretation itong Korte Suprema pagdating po sa session days. No? Definition nila ng session days. Kasi alam natin sa legislation, dito sa Kamara kapag one session day up until sabihin na presiding officer session adjourned, doon lang po matatapos ang one session day. Pero kasi sa interpretation ng Korte Suprema, one session day is equivalent to one calendar day, which is para sa kanila mali naman eh. Hindi po yun yung naging system na dito sa mga nakalipas na ever since no, na taon. So, yun po yung gagawin nila. Magbubuo sila. Ngayon, ongoing yung pagka-craft nila ng rules, bagong rules on impeachment para nga rin magtugma dito sa naging bagong desisyon ng Korte Suprema.
Pero Marian, anong tono nila? Defiance or adjustment?
Well, I guess mas appropriate term ay adjustment. No, though tinanong natin kung ano yung naramdaman nga lalo na ito ni SDML kasi ngayon lang din natin siya nakuha ng interview. Maganda sana kung noong nakarang linggo ang very vocal lang talagang against the decision na nakita natin yung akbayan ML Party List Representative Leila de Lima na talagang nanindigan sila na mali no yung ginawa ng Korte Suprema dahil ang nangyari judicial legislation. Sila na mismo kumbaga yung gumawa ng batas para sa Kamara. And when in fact, under the Constitution, it's a sole power po ng Congress yung pag-initiate ng impeachment. Pero ang ginawa ng Supreme Court, may sarili na silang kumbaga definition. So ang gagawin po nila, they will assert their independence, nanindigan itong si Defensor na yung independence nila, separation ng powers ng legislation, judiciary, hindi lang dapat sila ge-encroach no, sa ibang sangay ng gobyerno. At ang gagawin na po nila, maninindigan sila, when it comes to session days, meron siyang mga binanggit pero hindi pa niya dinetalye kasi hinihintay na lang nila na matapos muna yung mga filing nitong VP Sara complaints bago nila ilalabas itong House rules.
Okay, abangan namin yung bagong impeachment rules ng 20th
Sana lang.
Congressman yan. Ano ba?
Pwede pa rin naman daw yung fast track mode yung second mode. Meron bang matunog dyan na mode na ipapursue yung House?
Naku, Amin. Tinitignan natin kung paano pwede magawa yung fast track mode sa impeachment against VP Sara. But what I'm hearing di ba may dalawa nang nagreklamo, naghain against VP Sara? I heard 4 daw na grupo in total yung mga maghahain, I guess. Remember, there was 3 groups. Tapos yung 4th was the fast track, yung 1/3 ng Congress yung nag-file, mga complainant mismo. Pero I guess ngayon, hindi nila tatahakin yung 1/3 pero may pang-4 na grupong maghahain. I'm not sure baka yun yung ikikerry nila, yung pumasa na dito sa Camara last year. So, titingnan na lang natin yon. Pero sa sinasabi mo nga, kinonfirm naman yan ni SDML Defensor, sinabi niya na pwede pa rin talaga yung 1/3 o yung fast track mode,
Yes.
mga kongresista ang mga complainant. Kasi under the Constitution, nandun po talaga yun. So, pwede naman talaga yun. Ngayon, naayusin lang nila kung paano
Okay.
nga na hindi to babangga doon sa naging desisyon ng Korte Suprema.
Okay, maraming salamat, News 5 correspondent Marian Enriquez. Thank you, Marian.
Thank you, Marian.
Thank you, Marian.
Okay, the Foreign Correspondents Association, the FOCAP, the Foreign Correspondents Association of the Philippines, held a forum today on the country's political, economic, and security outlook for 2026. For the details, we have News 5 correspondent Camille Samonte. Camille, tell us what happened there.
Yes, hi Boss Ronald and Ami. Tatlo yung guest nga nung itong forum na inorganisa ng FOCAP. Unahin ko muna itong session nung kay Ombudsman Boying Remulla, no, kung saan isiniwalat niya na ipinarating niya sa kampo ni dating Congressman Zaldico na dapat ay magbalik siya ng bilyong pisong pera na illegal niyang nakuha para nga patunayan na seryoso sa intensyon na makipag-usap sa gobyerno. Kung matatandaan, itong mga nakaraang linggo ay lumabas yung ulat na ipinarating daw ng isang grupo ng mga pari kay Remulla na may intention nga daw si Ko na makipag-ugnayan sa gobyerno. Si Ko ay nakaharap ngayon sa kaso ng at reklamong plunder, malversation at iba pa, kaugnay nga ng flood control scam. Pero ang ginigiit ni Ombudsman Remulla ay bukas naman siya na makipag-usap sa kampo ni Ko, pero dapat daw ay mapatunayan niya yung kanyang willingness at yung pagiging seryoso nga na makipag-ugnayan sa gobyerno. Hindi niya binanggit kung ano yung figure na sinabi niya dun sa kampo ni Ko, pero nasa bilyon daw na piso ang pinag-uusapan dito. At wala pang feedback itong kampo ni Ko tungkol dito sa sinabi ni Remulla. Ang sabi kasi ni Remulla, kailangan daw talaga na mapag-usapan na nga ito dahil nga naiinip na raw ang maraming Pilipino at dahil nga kailangan din daw talaga ng gobyerno ng pera. So nakadepende nga yan doon sa kung ano man yung mapag-uusapan nila. Kasi tinanong din natin kung may possibility ba na ma-lower ba yung sentence niya, kung makikipag-usap siya or magiging state witness ba. Ang sabi ni Remulla, depende nga daw yan doon sa impormasyon na kanyang ilalahad. Pero dapat nga mauna muna nilang makita ay yung willingness na makipag-ugnayan nga itong kampo ni Ko. At matatandaan din itong nakaraang linggo ay naghain nga ng petisyon itong si Ko sa Korte Suprema para pigilan ang paglilitis sa mga kaso na isinampalaban sa kanya sa Sandigan Bayan. Si Ko ay nasa Stockholm, Sweden noong January 15. Batay yan sa notaryo na nakakalip doon sa petisyon na isinumite nga na inihain nga niya doon sa Korte Suprema. Pero sabi ni Remulla, walang karapatan si Ko na humingi ng judicial relief mula sa Korte Suprema dahil siya nga ay isang pugante at ayaw naman niya harapin ang mga kaso. Kaya para kay Remulla, naniniwala siya na maaaring hindi ito aktuhan ng Korte Suprema itong petisyon. At sinabi rin ni Remulla na habang ngayon nga dahil patuloy yung kanilang investigasyon na ginagawa sa flood control scam, ay nahihirapan sila ngayon na ma-access itong kopya ng Statement of Assets, Liabilities, and Net Worth o SALN ng ilang kongresista na sangkot doon nga sa na iniimbisigahan nila at kaugnay ng flood control scam. Ang dinadahilan daw sa kanila ng Secretary General ng Kamara ay kailangan para maaprubahan ng plenaryo bago mailabas yung kopya ng SALN. Bagay na hindi naman daw nila ginagawa noon nung siya ay kongresista. Kaya naman balak ni Remulla na personal na sumulat nga kay House Speaker Boji Di para nga daw iprotesta itong proseso sa pagkuha ng SALN. Bo?
Hindi ba yung ombudsman has a lot of powers to require the release of SALNs to itself for its investigations? I never realized that it's subject pala to approval pa from the plenary.
Kailangan may
Bok, yun nga
formal
yung
investigation.
Yun nga yung sinasabi, Bok, ni Remulla, kasi nung panahon daw niya, nung kongresista siya, natatandaan niya, nung iniimbestigahan yung PDAP scam, hindi naman daw kailangan ng approval nga ng plenaryo. Kasi nga dapat daw talaga ay transparent kayo mga kongresista at dapat naman talaga nilalabas yan. Gaya kasi sa Senado, ang proseso niyan, ang Secretary General din nun sa Senado ang nagre-release niyan, pero hindi siya dumadaan sa plenaryo para aprobahan. Dahil nga, lalo na kung ang ombudsman pa ang nagre-request niyan at gagamitin naman ito para nga doon sa kanilang investigation na ginagawa, kaugnay nga doon sa alleged graft and corruption ng flood control scam.
Ami, you were saying?
Pero hindi ombudsman ang repository ng SALN kasi
Yeah.
ng House.
Yeah, that's true. The Secretary General
Tapos,
pag
kaya
members of Congress.
kailangan mo, well, under the rules na inumpisahan nung panahon ni Rodrigo Duterte, kailangan nga, di ba, may approval nung hinihingian mo, or there must be a formal investigation so the ombudsman can demand the SALN. Siguro yan ang inaano nila ngayon dahil nga ang dami-dami, 67 minimum yung sabit, kailangan pa ngayon ng plenary, although that's news, ha? Na ngayon nga lang nila ginawa. Ngayon ko lang nabalitaan yan. Pero dati, kailangan na under the old rules ng isang dating ombudsman, yung congressman has to say okay sa kanya na ilabas.
Hindi, I
Yun
mean,
pa siya.
the old rules of the ombudsman apply to the SALNs that are
Ng
being held
individual
by the
official,
ombudsman.
kailangan mo ng approval ng official na hinihingian mo para i-release yung SALN.
But I think the old rules of the ombudsman only apply to the SALNs that are being held by the ombudsman because the ombudsman is a
Hindi,
repository.
yun yung old. Pero inadapt na ng lahat kasi ombudsman na yung nagsasabi. Pare-pareho na silang hindi naglabas. Pati Supreme Court hindi naglalabas. Hanggang ngayon nga, walang nilalabas Supreme Court.
Itong concern kasi
Camille,
ni
on
Remulla,
another
ang
note,
sinasabi niya ay
wala bang napag-usapan dun sa mga susunod na pwedeng kasuhan, lalo na yung mga big fish, si Ombudsman Remulla? Siya yung nag-provisa kasi last month, last December. So, ano bang, natanong ba siya ng walk-up tungkol dyan?
Ronald, sa ngayon, ang sinasabi ni Remulla kanina ay patuloy pa rin na gumugulong itong kanilang investigasyon pero hindi na siya nagbigay ng mga specifics, no? Pero ang mga natanong specifically ay itong kina Senator Chis Escudero at Senator Joel Villanueva ay nasa stage pa rin ito ng fact-finding pero ang nasabi niya ay mukhang advanced stage yung doon sa ginagawang investigasyon kay Senator Joel Villanueva. Nabanggit din ni Remulla kanina na meron ding fact-finding team na nakatuon para sa pag-iimbestiga naman dito kina Senator Mark Villar dahil nga dun sa mga infrastructure projects. So, ngayon ayaw na raw magbigay ni Remulla ng timeline kasi nga kung matatandaan mo last year, 'di ba? May nagsasabi na by Christmas ay may mga makukulong na pero at this point sinasabi lang niya gumugulong yung investigasyon at yung proseso naman ay tinatry nila na pabilisin nga. Pero kasi they just have to make sure na talagang matatag or malakas nga ito bago isampa itong kaso.
So, ayaw na niya mag-commit ng timetable.
Sumempla nga sila ng Christmas.
Ayaw daw na muna niya magbigay ng timeline. Pero may binanggit siya kanina na mayroon daw 12 sila na iniimbestigahan na pwede nang eventually maging maisampa na into an actual case. Pero yun nga, hindi na siya nagbigay ng specific details dito or even kung anong projects yung related. And yun nga, nakakadagdag pa nga raw kasi yun na nag-iimbestiga sila at pinahihirapan pa sila na makakuha nga nitong mga dokumento gaya nung SALN.
Okay. Any more? Okay, maraming salamat Camille Samonte, News 5 correspondent who covered the FOCAP forum kanina. And we are...
Thank you, Camille.
Yeah, Harold, you were saying?
Happy ko, salamat lang.
Okay, okay.
Salamat,
Sige.
Kapil.
Oy, baka lang hindi po niyo na-realize we're going overtime kasi beginning today we are on until 5:30 p.m. Storycon has been extended for another 30 minutes. Hindi ko alam, siguro si Rol Llamas may kasalanan dito. So
Is that good news or bad news?
don't ask me about that. I will not answer that. Okay. So Storycon will be right back after a quick break. Stay tuned, please.
This is the Story Conference Group or the Storycon Group.
It's the last stretch of the program. Welcome back to Storycon, the Story Conference. I'm Ed Lingao, and of course with us, Rol Llamas and Ami Pamintuan. Again, we are until 5:30 beginning today. And also joining us this afternoon is Octa Research President, Professor Ranjit Rai. Sir, magandang hapon and thank you for joining us.
Magandang hapon
Hi.
sa inyo lahat
Hi,
at lahat na
Professor.
nanonood sa atin at as a testament that your show is becoming more and more popular and but more importantly relevant, nadagdagan kayo ng 30 minutes.
Ganun ba yun?
I don't know if that's good or bad for all of us, but it's certainly
Kasama ba yun, Prof, sa sinasurvey nyo?
kailangan natin pa-survey yan. Dapat dagdagan ng isa pang oras.
Tsaka, isama niyo rin si Rol Llamas sa Performance and Trust Rating Survey, oh.
Hindi, actually, si Sec Llamas is rating sa senatorial. I mean, we won't talk about the details at this early juncture. Pero may preference. At yung mga naghahamon, baka might, magsisi.
Magsisi.
Maging katotohanan. People will vote the heckler.
Parang tinutulungan ako ni Senator Robin Hood Padilla, yung aking
Oo nga,
campaign
tinulungan.
manager.
Honestly, we need to measure in the first quarter. Baka nakatulong nga.
Are you seriously going to include Mr.
We
Rol
have
Llamas
included him since the early part of last
Oh
year.
yeah.
We have been, but we, just for the sake of it, alam mo yun, we're just measuring, alam mo yun, how media personalities are doing. And we included a couple of names, Karen Davila, si Christian Esguerra, and of course, our very own Secretary Ronald Llamas. So we just, and Anthony Taberna, by the way, also, yeah.
So
So we just for the sake of looking at the impact of media personalities. And it's true, while there's a reading and it's a good reading, they're not yet rating very high compared to the established political names.
pero pag
Like Senator Robin Padilla.
pero Prof, baka pag nag-declare ng intention si Rol Llamas, baka magbago yung numbers. Ano yun?
Oh yeah, oo.
Joke lang yun,
I'm
joke.
certain. Yeah, alam mo yun.
Okay.
Parang hindi yan yung topic natin.
Hindi
today.
nga.
Oo nga eh.
Okay.
What an interesting topic to talk about if it was the topic, yeah.
Okay, let's get down to the brass tacks. Your fourth quarter survey of 2025 from December 16 to December 20. Looking at the numbers, BBM's trust rating down by 9 percentage points, performance down by 3 percentage points. VP Sara trust ratings up by 2 percentage points, performance up by 5 percentage points. Prof, what can you tell us about this? Were you able to divine whether it's a survey, the survey president, or whether as a political scientist, kung anong dahilan kung bakit gumagalaw itong mga numbers na to in the way that they have in the last quarter?
Actually, the past few surveys, survey probes in the fourth quarter gave us a really hard time sa Octa because the divergence is what we need to explain, and because the survey doesn't ask why. We can only provide a big picture, and one of the things that we noticed is that there's a recalibration in the public's sentiment. No, it used to be when you observe the decline in trust, you'll also often see a decline in more significant decline in performance. But I think in the last quarter, there's a recalibration of public sentiment where, in my view, Filipinos are distinguishing more clearly between trust in leadership and to some extent assessment of performance. No, So, kasi I think one of the key findings here is, number one, the trust of the president went down significantly.
Yeah.
9 percentage points is significant, and it's across it's significant. It's across regions and classes, and but the most significant dips are in Balance Luzon, the NCR, in class A, B, C, and in class E. So, this is something that's important for the administration to look at. Trust and performance at one level. Another takeaway of course, is that trust and performance are no longer moving together as far as PBBM is concerned. People are making more critical judgments about his particular type of leadership. While performance remains at majority levels, there was some nominal decline. But the administration has to look more carefully at the erosion in trust. No, I mean, it's a signal kasi. It could collapse. No, as far as the Okta numbers are concerned, if something is not done. No, and as I said, no, one could argue that the survey findings can be characterized either a collapse on the part of trust for the president and a surge in the numbers of VP Sara. But one thing's for sure, this divergence is showing that Filipinos are separating, those who they trust and those who, and they have their own notion of performance also. And my sense is that's going to be crucial moving forward, at least this year in 2026, as we continue to probe trust and performance.
Prof, nabanggit niyo
Professor, as
yung
a
collapse,
political
Prof.
scientist,
Anong ibig niyo sabihin ng collapse or free fall? Anong indications na meron yan?
Well, sa amin kasi we are only really looking at our own numbers, and this kind of decline we haven't seen. Well, okay, let's be fair. No? The decline has been steady for the last 3 quarters as far as the president is concerned. But we didn't see this kind of almost double-digit decline in trust for the president, and it's probably contextual because it happened in the 4th quarter where he overpromised on certain issues and maybe was not able to fulfill all of those promises. I'm not going to say that these are what you call explanations now for the numbers. They're hypotheses, they're possible reasons why. So let me just pose that caveat because we never asked the question why. But we can compare with other probes. So for example, we came out with a probe last week about how people perceive poverty, and self-rated poverty went down. Historically, from a standpoint of Okta, it's double-digit, 17 percentage points. That's an estimated 4 million families felt they were less poor in the 4th quarter, and maybe all of that put together will explain why his performance held. You have to understand, we were expecting that his performance would fall as much as his trust, but performance is still majority. It's still above 50%. So this is probably not the collapse that we were expecting because government probably did what it had to do in the 4th quarter to, let's say, deliver poverty alleviation programs, manage the price of rice. And this is, by the way, another hypothesis. What we're also seeing is that if the government manages prices of basic food, specifically rice, vegetables, their numbers seem to either become stable or even improve. So this is just a hypothesis. We have no correlations established yet, very strong correlations established yet. But this is what we're seeing. The government was able to do certain things in the 4th quarter to probably respond to the growing criticism caused by the flood control scandal, to rally the economy for what turned out to be not a very strong finish. So all of this probably affected people in a positive way, and therefore explains why his performance ratings have not collapsed the way we saw with his or declined, not collapsed, but declined the way we saw the decline in his trust. So these are just possible ways of explaining it, not as a political scientist. So, of course, you ask me about VP Duterte's performance, it improved, no? When it asked about trust, it also improved. And maybe that's even harder to explain.
Pero di ba, Prof, statistically, the same yon? Within the margin of error?
Within the margin of error lahat eh. Yung decline ni PBBM sa performance is within the margin of error. Her improvement in, I think, trust, no, is also within the margin of error. So, but then again, you have to answer the question why her numbers in performance improved. And that's really harder to explain because, it isn't clear how or what were the programs and projects that she implemented during that period. She was out of the news basically, but this is how our countrymen are perceiving her. And her numbers actually improved in the fourth quarter.
Professor, actually, pati hunger, bumaba di ba?
Yeah.
Yung
And we're not the
self-rated
only...
hunger, bumaba
Yeah.
So, tanong ko, total yung numbers na yan, they're dynamic And
Yeah.
mukhang political yung nagda-drive nung Yung
Yes.
pagbaba ng trust ni Presidente. Hindi siya economic actually So,
Yeah.
you think, ano kaya ang pwede? I'm asking you as a political scientist. Ano kaya ang pwede niyang gawin to improve the rating sa trust?
Well, I think number one, kasi I think there were a lot of promises made,
Yes.
political promises.
Yung ikukulong ng Pasko, yung mga kamag-anak niya.
Sensitive na ganun yung mga kababayan natin. And it turns out the awareness of this issue was quite high in Balance Luzon and NCR, where many of the rallies bigger rallies were organized.
Yes.
It's information dense, urban, generally better informed, no? And so you can see kagad the drop in trust ratings are very high there, and the respondents were very critical of the president. So I guess number one is really to fulfill his promises, whether it's in the economy or with regards to political reform. I think those are the important steps forward. At some
Mga
level,
kamag-anak niya. Mga
Yeah,
kamag-anak
it's
niya. Kasi
possible.
yun yung pinaka-base, yung pinaka-ano yun Yun yung pinaka-question from the start How far are you willing to take this campaign di ba?
Yeah.
Dahil ang suspicion nga, pati mga kamag-anak niya involved. Sa tingin
Yeah,
mo, kung meron siyang movement in that direction, na positive, makaka-recover kaya yan?
I think so. But again, these are just really wild guesses, no, from my part. But when you talk about trust and performance, it's a confluence of many factors. I think the economy is a big issue because we also came out with
Yes.
our fourth quarter urgent national and personal concerns, and it's still the economy. But in the top 5, you have these issues about political reform, about corruption. So corruption is still an important issue, but the sustaining of the momentum gained in the fourth quarter with regard to self-rated poverty, decline, self-rated food poverty, continuing improvements in hunger. I think this will all, if we continue that momentum, government rolling out its programs for poverty alleviation, I think his trust ratings will improve. I also think his performance ratings will improve. We have to understand this was the worst time for the administration, the third and the fourth quarter. I don't think we found there's any time where the crisis was so elevated, and yet his numbers still, or the administration's numbers still held. See, Filipinos, in my view, look at performance from a government standpoint. They don't look at the person. When they ask them, tiwala, okay, they look at the person, and that's what they're saying. Nag-decline yung tiwala nila sa presidente. Pero pag tinanong natin kung may nagawa ang gobyerno, in terms of performance, I think this is a different picture. So, mababa ang tiwala nila sa presidente, pero nakikita natin kababayan may nagawa ang gobyerno. So, at some level na mitigate yung possible negative effect of the last 3 months as far as politics is concerned.
Prof, pinag-uusapan natin kanina yung correlation Hindi ba tumataas or natiling mataas si Vice President Sara dahil gumuguho si Presidente?
Pwede.
What if merong third alternative? Paano sa ngayon kasi yung nagtatapatan ay yung Presidente at saka yung Vice? Paano kung may sumulpot na someone viable na pwede siyang magpakilala siya as an alternative? Pwede ba yung makabawas dun sa Vice President na mataas? Parang kinukong ko lang yung correlation. Kaya mataas yung Vice President dahil siya pa lang. ang nagpapakilala
Yes.
na kandidato. At yung presidente, hindi na kandidato eh.
Yes.
Tapos na yung kanyang term eh. At lahat ng problema ng bansa sa kanya binabato.
Yeah.
Kaya kung ganun yung correlation, ganun din yung dalawa, syempre, mananatiling mataas
Yung Vice President.
Pero kung may susulpot, may magsimulang sumulpot na alternative, hindi ba yung makakabawas sa Vice President?
Or, I don't know how to answer that, Sec, eh. Pero one thing's for sure, if this impeachment process unravels, no, and there's a trigger, Professor Carl Joy, esteemed professor of the University of the Philippines, I talked about the Salin. I'm telling you, that's a big trigger. If that comes out, that might trigger some sort of trust and performance decline on her part. Because if these allegations being discussed by Prof. Claudio are correct, in our service, it's very clear. Hindi gusto ng mga ating kababayan nagsisinungaling at nagnanakaw. Talagang bumababa talaga yung ratings now when we look at the individual candidates, clients, no, who are trying to win elections or plan campaigns. That kind of quality is very high among everyday Filipinos. So if that happens and there's some truth to it, then that could be a trigger for a rapid decline in her numbers. So, and of course, moving forward, Sec, somebody with credibility, somebody like you, running, or somebody very articulate in critiquing, no,
Robin
the
Hood will
politics.
disagree.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's somebody need to convince Sec Liama, si Mama Ami. Okay. She's not voting for you. But the thing is, you're right. No, there could be other colorful and very good. The country is looking for leaders. There's around 30% of the country that's basically independent, that's out there waiting for a new movement, a new leader, and a new movement. And that's different from the administration, and certainly different from the movement being pushed by VP Duterte, that Duterte movement, so-called, no? And they're just waiting for that leader to come out.
Pero Prof, have we seen movements of this magnitude before? Itong mga almost double-digit magnitude in previous cases. I asked it kasi you already used the word collapse kanina, and that's a shocking word. So I'm trying to contextualize it in the sense na have we seen this kind of movements?
Okay, let me clarify. No, this is not a story of collapse. That's precisely it. Because there's a divergence between trust and performance. You have performance at more than 50%. So this can't be a story of collapse, at least as far as Okta surveys are concerned. This is a significant decline, no? And it's something that the government has to address, no? By going back to what the president has promised over the last 2 or 3 quarters, or over the last 3 years. And that's what I wanted to basically emphasize. This is not a collapse, no. And my sense is this divergence between trust and performance, as far as the president is concerned, is really the public becoming more critical, no. Filipinos are distinguishing more clearly between trust in leadership and assessment of performance. And that's what I wanted to emphasize. This is not a collapse, because we thought it would be a collapse by this time, because you have a 9 percentage point drop in trust, but the performance held. So this could actually be a turning point also, if the administration is able to push its agenda of good governance forward. If the cases against, as Ami rightly pointed out, if the cases graph cases against these people in our members of our political elite prosper, I think it could also actually signal a turnaround.
Professor, yung pag-increase ni Vice President Sara is within the margin of error.
Yes, sir.
Hindi ba yan pwedeng i-classify as a plateau? Hindi ba siya nagpa-plateau?
Well, kasi we're just really describing her numbers in the last quarter and this quarter. But if you're looking at trends long term, it's in decline, actually. It's in decline, and the decline ended this particular quarter, fourth quarter, Q4 or fourth quarter 2025, where she had some nominal improvements in her trust and approval ratings. But we don't expect that to hold especially this February when there's going to be, in the words of Professor Claudio, your reporter pala, no? Possibly even 4 impeachment complaints, no? So all of these complaints will have some substance, and in my view, that will have an impact. That will have an impact on her trust and performance ratings. Her basic strategy now is, as one professor in UP said, is the Chinese proverb, no? You speak less, talk less, mistake. And sabi ng professor ko. Kasi you look at the, it's funny, you know, he was critiquing our survey, and we have a small Viber group of professors looking at the numbers, and we're saying, what's the lesson learned here? Here's a president who's trying to perform the hardest he can, no? But he gets poor ratings. And here's a vice president who does nothing, and at least that's his point of view, and talks less, and she gets better numbers. So,
Professor, Professor, parang Lito Lapid framework. Si Lito Lapid lang ang artista na nag-survive at nanalo.
Totoo yan, that's true. Yeah. So, but this is
Malakas yung TV
point
show
of view,
niya
sir. Malakas yung TV
That's a
show.
very popular TV show.
Ang
It is.
probinsyano.
Yeah. But these are interesting times, no? Kasi tomorrow or the day after, we're also releasing another studies. We're talking about yung political representation, no? How do people think of our representatives, no? So we asked the basic question: do you think your representatives, both local government and congressional representatives, listen to you? So we'll release those survey results. I think on Wednesday. So it's interesting how people are looking at the political class, political elite. And Sec Ronald is completely correct. People are looking for a new movement and new leaders. And, they want to discontinue this model of political leadership exemplified or pushed by our political dynasties for the last few years. No? So hopefully there will be somebody, and there's a new movement evolving, and
Yes,
that will inspire Filipinos to continue to engage our politics, at least to sustain, broaden, and deepen our democracy through engagement.
Yes, sir. Sir, I have to correct there na kasi we're already in overtime eh. Nag-5:30 na nga kami, tapos nag-overtime pa kami. Baka gawin na alas 6 to.
2 hours, Professor. 2 hours.
OT na, OT.
Okay, thank you for joining us.
Congratulations.
Dr. Randy Try, Pangulo po ng Octa Research. Thank you, sir. And thank you for joining us today. Ami Pamintuan, editor ng Philippine Star, and Rol Llamas, editor ng mga political pundits. Join us again tomorrow 4 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. for Storycon. I'm Ed Lingao. Kapatid, we are One News, all sides, all time.
This is the Story Conference Group or the Storycon Group.